All right, Aisha is here. It means it's time for Joining Us Interactive. Good evening and welcome, Aisha
Good evening to
Ibrahim.
you, Israel, and thank you for welcoming me. And it's an interactive segment. Today, a lot of issues are coming up.
Okay.
Let me tease you on one. Okay, I think I should go straight to
All
the
right, you go
point.
ahead.
President Akufo-Addo today announced his finalists. But before that, you know how to join the conversation. It's on facebook.com/joynews on TV. On Twitter is on Joy News on TV. Make sure your messages are tagged, no harsh words. Let's have a beautiful conversation, right? So let me tell you about the list he released today. People are concerned that whilst the president was releasing the ministerial appointments, the names, his last batch for ministerial appointments, he also created some new ministries. And people are worried whether those ministries are so important to achieve the aim Nana Addo has set for himself. So tell me, what do you make of these new ministries? Are there some that you think are unnecessary and why?
Yeah, I would say they are all necessary, depending on whether if they're able to offer whatever they have. Because the president can say, okay, these are the things I want to do for it to be done. So let's give him the chance. If he gets those things and he fails, then we'll complain. But for now, let's give him the chance to do it and let's see.
The Ministry of Monitoring and then other things, I don't think it is necessary. Yeah, it is not necessary. So he should just bringing it in. I don't think it will create anything meaningful.
Necessary for him to subdivide like Ministry of Housing and Water and Resources, because in the previous government they had all combined. So why would you now separate it now? Creating a new ministry is not a problem, but it's like him adding more. He has been in opposition for a long time, so he has seen and evaluate what if he creates a new ministry, it will help him. But him separating some ministries, example, Ministry of Information and Communication, at first it was one, but now he has separated it. So he's going to create overstaffing. To me, he's going to create overstaffing there. But some ministry the new ministries that he has created is fine. They are going to monitor and evaluate the new administration and all other stuff.
End up in what? Creating overstaffing, and then you are going to use the resources that we have, the little resources that we have, to pay them. Even as they were in opposition, they were saying that when they come, they will even reduce the salaries of some of the MPs. That because the high salaries that they earn, rather what was also affecting the economy.
It was really affecting, because some ministries had 3 deputies, and some didn't have 3. Some had 2. All the ministries have deputies, but some had 3. So that one, what should we say about that one too?
I don't think it's unnecessary, because during the NDC time, they had one, and that was one of their senior men. That's 20 something. He's also in charge of monitoring. So if you say it's not necessary, I will not buy that. So what I want us to do is that let's give him the chance. Let's support him. If he fails, then we'll all talk.
All right, fantastic comments from the streets. Let's see what you've been saying on Facebook.
All right, Kwesi Boateng and your says, those who think some of the newly created ministries are not important are those who don't see the works of auditors and policy analysts in organizations as important. The NPP has made promises to the citizenry, and those promises need to be redeemed through these ministries. Kofi Sam says, well, we voted for him to deliver. If creation of new ministries is what will enable him achieve promises in the manifesto, no problem. We'll pray and support him. Prince Nuruddin says all the ministries created by His Excellency Nana Addo are relevant, and they all pledge to serve in the interest of Ghanaians. Let's wish them all the best and see what they intend to deliver within the 4-year period. And Ernesto says every ministry is important. The president has a lot of promises to fulfill, and he needs people who supervise these projects. Besides, we're not in the mind of the president. Let's wait.
Evangelist Patrick Inchi says people would always talk. If he appoints 2 people, they would say it's not enough. Enough 2, they would say it's too much. Let's watch him first before we start talking. Kwame, Cape Coast South. Kwejo Martin says, these new ministries, I believe, is to honor campaign promises. Ghanaians fell in love for his message and that he wants to be faithful to Ghanaians. Tiana Smart Boating says, I think roles must be defined in connection with these new ministries so as to avoid duplication of roles. Again, I think some of them are needless. For example, the Ministry of Planning, the Ministry of Inner City and Zongo Development, and the other one that I have forgotten. Oh, all needless. Ismail Halil says, I wonder where from some of these ministries just creating spaces for looting. Hey, is it Amma?
Well, yeah, Amma, I don't quite get it.
I don't get it too. Kofi Sam Kinsman says, I only need minister in charge of Joy News Interactive, which I'm a viable candidate.
I'm sure he's saying this because of Aisha.
Habib Bantu says, create loot and share government thieves. Oh, that's too harsh. Habib Maxwell Oheneba Priku says, well, let's hope they all function well. I was very impressed with the Zongo and Inner City Ministry appointment. Japheth says, very good, of course, because he said it and need to implement them. Nana Twaso, hashtag Onapo. And Ebenezer Omariba Drizi says, nice idea from some, waste of national resources. God save us from this, our so-called leaders in Ghana. Evangelist Patrick says, people would always talk. Okay, I think I've read this message already. And Stephen Kwashiga Ajolulu says, I have a problem, and that is more with those defending the 6 new ministries created at the presidency, not to even talk of the 29 substantive ministries created from the SWL 24 under Mahama's administration. That's quite a long one. It says to them, I'm directing my anger at, all right. So he says, how then is that a real protection of the public purse as promised us? So I'm more inclined to side with those calling for the alignment of some ministries. And even that I maintain some of these ministries and positions are simply needless. All right. So those are some of your comments on Facebook. So other issues, the NDC chairman of the NDC chairman Kofi Pothofi has accused President Akufo-Addo of being behind the attacks on NDC supporters by the invisible forces. Reason why the president hasn't said a word of caution since the incident sparked. Well, while many feel the president ought to speak out to quench this heat, there are those who sincerely believe that even if he did, the NPP it would not yield any positive result because of the historical background to these forms of attacks. The question I ask, will the president's intervention make any difference?
I think so, yeah. You know, a lot of people have respect for him, and as such, whenever he talks, he will listen. You know, he's now a government in power, and people have a lot of respect for him. So I think when he says something to the public that I think they should halt with whatever they are doing, I think they will listen. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Because he's the president-elect now, and he has been one man people have been looking up to. Though people have their grievances to air in whatever way, but I think, in my personal opinion, if he comes out to speak to the people, in whatever way, definitely people will look up to him and they will listen, so that all these utterances here and there from both parties, NDC and MPP, will come to a halt.
You know, he just came to power, and you know, as a leader, you have to observe things at the ground. You need not to just rush into conclusion and just try to. You have to look at what the situation and later on try to come up with your own strategies how to handle with it. So I think he's working how to handle the matters, but it's just a matter of time for him to. Yeah, so I think he's doing his best too. Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's been slow, but he's been careful. You know, the same people who voted for him to come to power, if care is not taken and he just make hasty decisions, he will definitely try stepping on the tails of those who voted for him. And it's going to be, or it will seem like he's now trying to be an enemy in front of those who voted for him. So he's been careful.
Of course. I mean, if he's the first gentleman of the nation, so if he boldly comes out to put his people in order, I'm sure a word from him would do more good than damage to what has already been, done. So he should just be bold enough, and this is not about politics, it's about the state. So just order his people. If it's MPP actually, supporters of MPP doing that, I obviously might doubt if they are MPP, but whatever it is, he just have to add his voice to it and see what happens. I'm sure people will listen to him.
All right, so that's not all. A lot of the messages are also on our social media platforms. On Facebook, Israel, what are people saying?
Yeah, Bonfa Phillips says, I sometimes wonder the kind of leadership styles we deserve. Why is he throwing the blame to him? Don't we have policemen and women in this country anymore? I would have been happier if you had gone to the police. Personally, I don't like the way we treat some of these issues. We create room for people to hide behind political parties, commit crime. Such people should be arrested and dealt with. Simple. Prince Nuruddin says this reprisal attacks by the so-called MPP supporters is unlawful and must be condemned. I think that President's intervention can alter the minds of the ruling party supporters to quit these seizures of government properties. Rafiq Adam says, forget about them. I hope that this is what they want, and they went home and slept, leaving JM alone to campaign for them. Very soon the MPP supporters will turn on them, maybe pour acid on them, and if they don't run away, shame on you and mosquito. Evangelist Patrick says, when someone is serious to do something, he knows exactly what he wants. So let's keep quiet and give Mr. President time to do his work. People just comment unnecessarily. He's overexperienced for this job, wise and intelligent. What are the complaints for?
Akufo-Addo Paco Etuahene says there are systems in place already, and those institutions are right to handle such matters. Why cry to the doorsteps of the wrong person? Riverson Nanatcheneboa says if NDC think they are men, they should try and see. What didn't they do in 2009? 5 MPP activists were murdered in cold blood at Agbobloshi. They shouldn't anger some of us. 5 days into opposition and see how uncomfortable you are. When we start lining you up in court, then you will cry blood. And Rich Brunei Darussalam says, I think whatever they are thinking, the press has information to do with all this chaos, but also think who else than the president can put a stop to this. Please, Nana, do something. Kwesi Boateng says, why must you blame the president? Blame the security agencies. They're being indolent and coloring all these crime in political colors. Blame the police. Ishmael Halil says, this vandalism must stop. They have caused so much rampage and it is not good for our development. All right. So MP for Nsawam-Edo-Ejiri Arnold Domprey has been lashed by a cross-section of the public for requesting that new entrants to Parliament are oriented at serene locations such as Aqua Safari and the likes, instead of the current venue, the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA. What do you think of this request? Is it a genuine one or one that will unnecessarily burden the nation's purse?
There's no money in the system right now, so if they take them to a normal place, it's better, so that we can save money and do things better for the country.
GIMPA has been a usual place they always go, so it's better they've changed the environment. I remember they mentioned Dubai, and the majority leader was saying that we have Dubai in Ghana. I believe he mentioned the Dubai for fun, but if we can change the serene, as he mentioned, it's not bad at all. And I'm sure being members of parliament, maybe they will cut down the bill for them to have that opportunity, to have their training and get the best out of it.
They are there to enact laws for the state, you understand? And they need a very comfortable environment to think through in order to, to take them through the parliamentary procedures. So sometimes when you think too much about the money, you sacrifice quality at times. So I think it's parliament. It is a branch of government. So we need to give them a very comfortable environment, at least for the exercise. I think I support that.
Maybe to take them to somewhere for them to relax, it will cost us, it will be a bill that will cost the country. That maybe, because the country, we need money. to do a lot of things for ourselves. But after spending that and later we'll come back, it will cost us a lot of liquidity.
All right, so let's see what transpired in Parliament on Wednesday when Honorable Anodom made the request.
On the venue for the upcoming seminar, as proposed by leadership, I have a bit of issues with it. The Speaker, we are not aware if there is any particular reason for the choice of Gimpa. I recall almost 4 years ago, the same orientation was held at Gimpa. I would have thought that after the pressures of elections, we will relocate to a much serene atmosphere. And so coming from that motivation, the Speaker, I will wish to make some propositions. For instance, Aqua Safari, for instance, it wouldn't be a bad idea. It wouldn't be a bad idea at all if leadership considered Dubai, for instance. It would be good for people.
Honourable Speaker, a bit taken aback by the proposition by my colleague on the other side, asking that we should go to Dubai, we should travel all the way to Dubai, for 275 members of Parliament to travel to Dubai at the expense of the taxpayer for a similar investment. It is really interesting and amazing. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I think my dear friend and colleague should have asked for further particulars. There's Dubai, and there's Accra, Dubai. The Honourable Member made a statement that members of the House, 275, go for an induction course at a facility that can accommodate all the members. And this facility must be a residential to cover the members who are 275. The Accra Circle Dubai that's not Mr. Speaker. The Dubai the police is referring to is the Dubai,
Israel, do you know about the new hotel at the Accra Dubai Hotel?
No, I don't know about that. But all Dubai to be Dubai.
Any Dubai be Dubai. Yeah. Let's see what you've been saying on Facebook.
Evangelist Patrick says, when someone is serious to do something, he knows exactly what he wants. So let's just keep quiet and give this president time to do the work.
I think we've read this message.
Okay, we've gone over these messages already.
Okay, I think this is...
Okay, so Evangelist Patrick is, I know they are not MPP supporters, so we've read through this already.
And Aliu Mahama, I think Aliu Mahama is now talking about what we're discussing now. He says the request is one of the avenues through which the taxpayers' monies are misused. If anyone wants any venue aside the Gimpa, they make them bear the cost. Sagrafito Kontonsko says, that's the MPP for you. We advise Ghanaians, but they never listened. We must expect more of unnecessary extravagance. And Sagrafito comes back to say, an Accra High Court in 2013 directed Mrs. Afeku and her husband to pay. Okay, I think that's not in relation to what we are discussing now. Eugene Gatti in Holland says the president lives in a small apartment. He goes to office on bicycle, but Ghanaian politicians are so extravagant. How can we advance the good cause of Ghana with this attitude? Japheth says, honorable proposing Dubai. It's like using going to church without Bible and notepad or adequate preparation, and we're asked to preach that very day. I think Honorable must reconsider that idea and come back. I love enter swimming pool at Sandema. And he says, I shall hope you will give him the platform to withdraw the statement. Can't think far. Boatin Kwejo Daniel says, I think that he made those statements with humor. The request wouldn't be granted, but others are capitalizing on it to create bad faith. Ismail Halil says, this is Ghana for you. Dubai in mind, another burden for taxpayers. And Kweku Poku says, now why a change of place? Is it because your party is in power? Just asking, time will tell. And Bao Musa says he said it on the lighter side, and come to think of it, there are two types of Dubai. And he says, Samuel Alan Nyaba says that's his opinion, but he should know he's there to serve the nation, not to seek for enormous comfortability.
And then Kofi, okay, Auto Hunter says, share aqua what? if he won't go to Gimpa, let him resign. He won't agree for the nation's resources to be used anyhow. And Ruth Brunei says, this is definitely a high burden. In the first place, why will he even think of that? Please, Mr. Minister, resign your statement or withdraw your statement. Ebenezer says, our students at Aqua Safari, what kind of mediocrity is this? Samuel Rice says, not necessary, but I heard it was a joke. Prince Nurudin says, we should respect the state of the country's economy.
And Kweku Plasma says, the lash is there, he deserves it. Opoku Ntiajuman says, his request is unnecessary and I see it to be an act of selfishness. Dramani Frank says, did he really request that? I think he was just joking. And Afenovi says, it's a comic statement, I think. And that will end our conversation. But let's